Okay. Oxygen dissolves in water partially. Okay. Oxygen is sparingly soluble in water. Okay. That's why the aquatic animals survive. Okay. We also survive because oxygen dissolves in our blood. Okay. It forms oxygen hemoglobin complex and the oxygen is supplied to all the cells of our body. Okay. So oxygen is soluble in water to some extent, not completely. Right. So because of that, aquatic animals survive. Okay. So what happens if you increase the temperature of water? What happens to the dissolved oxygen concentration? Will it decrease or increase? When you slowly heat the water, okay, what happens to the dissolved oxygen concentration? It dissolves more or it comes out? When you heat it, the dissolved gases, they come out. You might have seen bubbles come out. All the gases dissolved, they come out. Right. If you heat water to more than 50 degrees Celsius, the fish and other animals will die straight up. Above 45 only. Okay? Because that decreases the oxygen concentration. It depends on temperature. Dissolved oxygen depends on temperature. If you add some microorganisms in water, what happens to dissolved oxygen concentration? Okay, they also require oxygen. Okay, and they decompose other organic matter. Okay, so what happens? The oxygen concentration goes down. Okay, if you add organic molecules, okay, which are decomposed by the bacteria and all, okay, what happens? The BOD level goes down. Okay, industrial effluents, okay, they first check the BOD and COD. Okay, when they release the water to the environment, okay, the sewage water, okay, they have to treat that water. It should not contain much BOD and COD. Okay, I think you have done one experiment already. Determination of chemical oxygen demand. Okay, COD you have done. What is chemical oxygen demand? It is the amount of oxygen required to oxidize all the organic matter, okay, using a strong oxidizing agent like potassium dichromate in acidic media. Right, you have done that. What you have done in that experiment? You have taken a round bottom flask with some boiling chips inside. Okay, you prepared it out. Known volume of industrial wastewater sample. Okay, say 5 ml of industrial wastewater sample is prepared out. Then we add mercuric sulfate. Okay, what is the role of mercuric sulfate there? What is the role of mercuric sulfate? Mercuric sulfate is added to remove the chloride ions. Okay, mercury sulfate becomes mercury chloride, and mercury chloride will not interfere with our experiment. They studied in the lab. Okay, then you added 25 cc of, pipetted out 25 cc of the potassium dichromate solution. Okay, and added to that round bottom flask. Okay, then you added sulfuric acid and silver sulfate reagent. Okay, what is the role of sulfuric acid? It gives an acidic medium for the oxidation. Okay, because potassium dichromate is a strong oxidizing agent in presence of an acid. Okay, what is the role of silver sulfate? It helps in the oxidation of straight chain compounds. Aliphatic compounds are difficult to oxidize. Aliphatic compounds are difficult to oxidize. To oxidize them, we use a catalyst, that is silver sulfate. Silver sulfate is a catalyst because we want all the organic matter to be oxidized. We don't want any matter to be left out as it is. Okay, we want all the organic matter to be oxidized. Okay, for that we add a catalyst, silver sulfate, and we don't want any inorganic matter to be oxidized. That is the reason we add mercuric sulfate. Okay, otherwise what happens? Chloride ions will be oxidized to chlorine. Chloride ions consume potassium dichromate and they will be oxidized to chlorine. We don't want that. That is inorganic matter. Okay, what is COD? It is total organic matter. Total organic matter, whether it is biologically oxidizable or not oxidizable. Okay, non-oxidizable. Okay, if it is biologically oxidizable, it is called BOD, biochemical oxygen demand. What is BOD? It is the amount of oxygen required by the aerobic bacteria to oxidize biologically oxidizable organic matter. What is BOD? It is the amount of oxygen required by aerobic microorganisms to oxidize all the biologically oxidizable organic matter. Say DDT is there. Whether it is biologically oxidizable? No. Your antibiotics? No. They are used to kill bacteria. Antibiotics. Okay? So they are not biologically not oxidizable. So we don't consider them in BOD. But they are present in this, right, when you do COD. Okay, COD means total organic matter. BOD means only biologically decomposable organic matter. Is that clear to you? What is the definition of BOD? It is the amount of oxygen required by aerobic microorganisms to oxidize biologically oxidizable organic matter. Is that clear to you? Right. What is COD then? Chemical oxygen demand. Amount of oxygen required to oxidize all the organic matter indiscriminately. It oxidizes whether it is biologically oxidizable, non-oxidizable. Okay. So it oxidizes everything. Okay. What are biologically non-oxidizable organic matters? What are biologically non-oxidizable organic matters? Your pesticides, insecticides, antibiotics. Okay, they are all biologically non-oxidizable organic matter because they are used to kill bacteria and pests. Okay, right. So you know what is BOD and what is COD. How to determine BOD? Okay, there is a test. Okay, so what we do is we determine actually dissolved oxygen. We determine dissolved oxygen. Okay. What is dissolved oxygen? You know, it is a oxygen dissolved in water. Okay. It depends on the temperature. It depends on the organic matter present. If the organic matter is present, okay, the oxygen concentration goes down. Okay. Right. So, so how it is determined? We have a Winkler's method. It is Winkler's modified azide method. Okay. So what we do? Here we use MnSO4. Okay. Alkaline iodide azide solution. Okay. So what we do is we add MnSO4, manganese sulfate. Okay. It reacts with KOH. What it forms? Am I right? Whether the reaction is balanced? Right? That's correct, no? Right. MnSO4 plus 2KOH giving MnOH twice plus K2SO4. This MnOH twice, manganese hydroxide. Okay. Manganese hydroxide, MnOH twice. It takes the dissolved oxygen. It reacts with the dissolved oxygen. Okay. So I can write 2 MnOH twice plus O2. What it gives is MnOH twice. This is manganic hydroxide. Mn is present in the form of Mn plus 4. Here it is plus 2. Mn is plus 2, MnSO4. But here it is plus, it's oxidized. It takes the oxygen, dissolved oxygen. Okay, so it is oxidized to manganic hydroxide. Okay, it's brown in color. Okay, basic manganic oxide or manganic hydroxide. Basic manganic oxide. It is brown precipitate. Okay. It is brown precipitate. Okay. It is basic. Okay. So this what we do is we take a reagent kind of bottle. Reagent bottles, you use reagent bottles? Okay, we take the water where we want to test the BOD, the dissolved oxygen. Okay, so we take that water first. Stopper it is. Okay, so I've done this. You have seen the reagent bottles there. The same reagent kind of bottle it is. It is called BOD bottle. The same reagent bottle with airtight corks, right? So they are called BOD bottles. Okay, so we take the water. Okay, that we want to test that dissolved oxygen, right, concentration in the BOD bottle. Okay, we fill up to the neck, we leaving some small portion. Then we add MnSO4, KOH and sodium azide. Okay, sodium azide, I'll tell you why we add sodium azide. Okay, that is added here. Okay, once it is full, we shake it. So what happens? MnSO4, KOH you added, it reacts with KOH forming manganese hydroxide. This manganese hydroxide reacts with, it takes the dissolved oxygen. It reacts with the dissolved oxygen. This is whatever the oxygen I have written here, it is dissolved oxygen. It is closed and then we shake it. Okay, so MnSO4 reacts with KOH forming manganese hydroxide. This manganese hydroxide scavenges all the oxygen and it forms brown precipitate. Okay, we shake it for some time and keep it as it is for 10-15 minutes. So we get brown precipitate. Okay, then we dissolve this precipitate in minimum quantity of sulfuric acid. When you add sulfuric acid, so this MnOOH twice plus sulfuric acid. When you add H2SO4, it forms again MnSO4 plus H2O plus nascent oxygen. It gives out the nascent oxygen, very reactive oxygen. Okay, we call nascent oxygen. Okay, that nascent oxygen, okay, oxidizes the potassium iodide, Ki plus this sulfuric acid plus the nascent oxygen. It oxidizes this Ki to iodine. Iodometric titration it is afterwards. Your copper in brass experiment. Okay. After adding sulfuric acid, we shake it. Okay, what happens? You get iodine liberation starts. Okay. Right, you get is K2SO4 plus H2O plus iodine is liberated. Okay, this liberated iodine, what we do? We titrate against sodium thiosulfate solution using starch as an indicator. You remember your copper in brass experiment? Copper in brass experiment, what do you do there? Copper, okay, brass dissolved in HNO3, in concentrated HNO3, okay, you dilute it, then you prepare that, shake it. You get brown precipitate because manganese sulfate reacts with KOH forming manganese hydroxide. This manganese hydroxide scavenges the dissolved oxygen forming manganic hydroxide. That is brown precipitate. Okay, you dissolve this brown precipitate in minimum quantity of sulfuric acid and take it into a conical flask and directly titrate against sodium thiosulfate because Ki is already there. Okay, it displaces that oxygen. Okay, displaces iodine from Ki. That it oxides Ki to iodine. This iodine is titrated against sodium thiosulfate. Na2 S2O3 plus the iodine. Okay, I2. What it gives? Na2. What is that? S4O6. Sodium tetrathionate. Okay. Plus sodium iodide. Okay, what is the indicator used here? Starch. Iodine reacts with starch forming blue color. Okay, starch iodide complex. Okay, and that is standard against standard sodium thiosulfate solution till the blue color just disappears. Okay. So we add sodium azide. I told sodium azide is also added. NaN3. NaN3 helps in the removal of oxides of nitrogen present in water. Any oxides of nitrogen present, okay, it helps in the removal of the nitrates or nitrites present. Okay, otherwise they will interfere with our experiment because they can oxidize Ki from that iodine, Ki to iodine, nitrates and nitrites. Okay, to remove that interference, we add sodium azide. Nitrates, potassium nitrate or potassium nitrite, NaNO2, NaNO3, KNO3, KNO2. Okay, they may be present. Okay, they may be formed because it's the oxidation, and all living organisms, they contain nitrogen. Okay, nitrogen is there. Okay, so oxides of nitrogen may be formed. Okay, to avoid that, we add sodium azide. Okay, sodium azide, it prevents the oxidation of Ki by nitrates or nitrites. We don't want that. We want the oxidation to be done by nascent oxygen present in water. Oxygen present in water. Okay, oxygen is converted to nascent oxygen first, and that nascent oxygen oxidizes Ki to iodine. Okay, right. What you got is now, okay, finally that sodium azide can be removed. Excess sodium azide reacts with sulfuric acid forming ammonia and sodium sulfate. So ammonia and sodium sulfate will not interfere with our experiment. Okay, ammonia and sodium sulfate will not interfere with our experiment. Okay, they will come out.